All right. Good morning, everybody. I think we're all here today. All right, let's see. The market is about to open in 3 minutes. And let us check out what we have right now. All right. So the futures look to open flat, slightly down a little bit on the S&P, very slightly. Taking a quick look at some of our discussion stocks we discussed yesterday. DCAR was a great winner for the day. It's gapping lower today, but yesterday had a huge 50% move. After we started talking about it at the open, we also had HYRE that also did pretty well. It was up 10% roughly yesterday. And we had also Survey Monkey that popped, and that also looks pretty good. All right, so that's also just looking at two. Endpoint did not work out. That never really triggered on the upside, so that one we can understand was never broke above the 911 at the very least. So that's where we are, and let's see how the first few minutes of the market trade and react to today's events. A little slow in the beginning, but we're about to begin. Right. So here we go, 9:30, and we are off to go. So this market is now turning positive after a brief open. All right, so let's look at the minute chart in the S&P. So we have here, okay, that's probably too much. Hourly. So yes, after we hit that 50-hour moving average, retraced a little bit, and now looking to see if we can break it. The hot blanket effect has given a little bit of a pause. So we'll see how the MACD and the stochastic turn in association with the stock price. Let's look at some of the other stocks we're looking at here. Have SVMK that's following up on the upside on the hourly. That's a 2 after having a day of a 2 as well. Now it's at 3. So again, we're looking for stock that trades all the way to 9. But if it doesn't do that, it will cancel the indicator like this, or here. So sometimes we have to pay attention to the hourly to see where the possible exhaustion would have happened without the daily finishing its count. So looking at some of the other stocks we talked about, let's look at DCAR. I mean, this thing is after 9 in the hourly yesterday. That was a good time to sell, just to sell anything. It doesn't matter if you sold a quarter, a fifth, all of it. But when you see the 9 print, you should take some action. It looks like it's not totally broken here. There are support here in the 480s. Just after it broke out yesterday, 200 5-minute moving average is holding as support. So that was a pretty big move yesterday, and now we're gonna see if we can digest a little bit and consolidate, probably for a base. And same goes with HYRE is down, and they're coming out with earnings tomorrow after the market. So just a little jittery action before the earnings, which is normal, but it looks pretty good as far as the chart's concerned. And continue to look at some of these other stocks. SVMK continue to go higher. Upwork continue to be weak. Tilray is almost done on the buy setup phase. We have other stocks, long-term stocks, such as Square, that looks to be forming a base here, and that could look to be another opportunity to enter in the long run. Etsy continues to be a winner. I mean, this is a very interesting setup now that the 13 is finished and now the 9 is also finished. And this is a very, very good setup. And any small sort of buying comes in, this could take off. I mean, we have this nice little pennant that's forming, and anything above this pennant would be a buy. That would be this is a thing of beauty as far as the chart. But again, as if it fails, you always have to put a stop loss. Nothing is guaranteed, but these are high probability setups that should bode well for the bulls. All right. Let's continue to see where we are. All right, so let's look at some of the other markets. Up 80 points on the Dow Jones. Still negative. As far as the count is concerned, it's still a buy setup. 1, 2, 3, 4. So yes, it has to go above this price, this bar, in order for that to flip to a sell setup, which means it's going higher. The VIX is flat. Even though the market's up 80, the VIX is flat. So that means people are not really as afraid, or at least as bearish, while the market's up. Let's continue to see what else we have here. This is an interesting short of the market. This is for okay, let's see here. So now on an hourly basis, after it hit the 200-hour moving average, this is now settling in at the 50-hour moving average. And it's an interesting setup here due to the fact that the market, again, is still within is still consolidating. So if the market breaks, that will run. Again, the market is still has a buy setup forming, so which means it's still negative until it's proven otherwise. All right, it's also looking to break this little descending channel. Let's look at the form. It's forming a lower low, but it did form a higher. A lower high and a higher low. So there is pressure coming in, and we'll figure out. Well, the market will figure out where it wants to go next. Right. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. We will go through some of these stocks. Huya looks good for now. Let's where we are on the hourly. So there's still consolidation that's being done here. All right. Let's say hello. If you guys have any questions or other stocks that you might want to look at, just give us a quick message and we will go through it. There's a couple stocks that came out with some earnings, actual estimate today. And this Lennar also looks pretty strong coming out of this base. So that is in our watch list, and on a long-term basis, this looks pretty good. We do have some resistance here. And we're just starting to set up for we're just starting the sell setup. Now let's look at the weekly. 13's finished, starting at 1. It looks tremendous. And there's also another resistance in the weekly here. That's where the 1 is, and ultimately here. All right. Check to see where the Fibonacci. Please put the Fibonacci here. First initial run. I mean, that's pretty close to where we have it. So that's why we feel pretty confident with some of our analysis, because these tools are showing you points where a lot of institutional traders are. Let's leave it at that. All right, let's see what else we have here. Levi's. This is still pretty early. It's a recent IPO, so I think it's important to have the stock go through a price discovery period, and at some point we will see where the momentum takes it in the short term. The housing stocks are definitely getting a big left going back to Lennar, due to the fact that we might be getting, or at least the Fed is not raising interest rates this year. So that's also looking good going into earnings. That's DR Horton. And let's look at some, it's 9:40, 10 minutes. Let's look at some of the stocks that are popping. High volume. See if there's anything going on here that could be a good stock to get into. Neo, still not looking good. This is a big company. WellCare Health. This is pretty interesting. There's a double bottom scenario, and they came out with some news today. And let's look what they have. All right, so that's a buyout candidate. So therefore, I mean, there could be some other plays going forward, but for some arbitrage play, a couple of companies come in and try to outbid the other. But there's plenty of other opportunities out there. Let's look at some of these other stocks. GLBS, Globus Maritime. These are stocks that likes to get pumped by a lot of these day traders. And so let's take a look at what our indicator says. I mean, it's finished at 13 here, which is kind of similar here, not starting another run. This is an interesting play. These are normally big movers. So it just started in a 1. If you look at the 913 and there's a turn, it's starting to go the opposite direction, and the buyers are starting to come in. I mean, these are volatile stocks, so you have to pretty much treat it with caution, but more caution, because sometimes they don't, they're not as orderly as the big stocks. They will hit your stops, and so you have to be quite solid with your day trading skills if you are to enter this trade. But so far it looks good on an hourly basis. 913 finished as well, and then the daily 913 finished on the hourly of this recent downturn, 913, then followed by 913. Now it looks like a buy setup. I'm sorry, the sell setup is forming. It looks good. I mean, if it can get past for the high today, a low of 366, which is not a bad place to go. Let's wait for the 9 to finish, and once it bases, it looks to be a good place to at least dabble in. If you're interested in this type of stocks that could move, I mean, this is a stock that could move triple digits. There's plenty of those stocks, low float stocks that day traders are focused on. Anything can happen, such as the stock yesterday with DCAR went up 50%. So this could be in our watch list. Let's put that in there. Nobody's interested. Let's look at the hourly again. So may close above this 200-hour moving average for the hour by 10:30. That's a good sign. So let's see what other. The last time the stock moved on a 5-minute chart, this is what happened, and we can kind of look at that as a base of what could happen or what we could look for. Most likely not going to be exactly the same path, but we'll see how the count affected it intraday. So now 913. This never really had a count on a 5-minute chart. Did it when it's already too extended. So the initial breakout was not counting the way we were looking for on the 5-minute chart. The hourly chart, though, was, you can see that a little bit clearer that it did. So this is the momentum part of the indicator, and that's where you can see a lot of the price extension happen. It's really looking for the price range. Just look at the set. So now that's the hourly. So if you were to trade it on a day trade with a stop loss at 365, just to kind of give you, I mean, you can go a little bit lower, 360 if you like. Just going to give it a little bit of wiggle room. Look at the 1-minute chart. Yeah, so the setup formed here, and this is the low. So this is a pretty good place to go. I mean, it really shouldn't hit that. So 365-ish would be a great place to have a support. Stop loss. All right, put a stop in that. Make it a solid stop loss. And this is a good place to own it if you can. That's initial support. Now it's counting. You can either wait for this count to finish through 9, or and buy the 9, or you can wait it to set up a new trend and buy there. So let's just wait. We haven't gone to the high of the day yet. This would be a good place to start to own it if it gets past it. This will be the first trigger to own. 430. 430. With a buy, with a sell stop loss at 365. So you have to just figure out what the maximum dollar amount you could lose. That's the first part of the plan. It obviously will change if you were day trading. I can lower this buy if it prints a 9 on the 1 minute, and that would lower down your risk to reward ratio, or you can adjust the stop loss as well with a new buy point. But so far it looks like we can see how this finishes. So 912, one more 13, that would finish in the 5-minute. Look at that for now. So if you wanted to just lose $1,000 as your maximum loss, then or 500 or $100, you can set it however you see fit. So if you were looking to lose 300, to lose $100 to make it simple, then you would calculate it where you would buy at 430, 429, the stop loss at 365. The difference multiplied by you divide it by 100, and that's how many shares you could buy. If it changes, obviously, where the entry point is set, then again you have to readjust it. The most important is your dollar amount. GLBS is continuing to go. It's 20%. It's consolidating. So lose our sight on this. This is really looking very good. All right, so let's wait a little bit to see how that works out. Again, if it finishes here, we can do a low entry, a low risk, very low risk setup entry. So if that's what you guys are more comfortable with. Take a quick look at some of the other stocks. IGC. It's okay. Not bad. Still within this range. It's a very big range. So that is something you can consider. There is resistance to 260. This is a good break from 230 to 260 initially with a stop loss with today's low. Well, that's not bad. But the fact that it's challenging this high where the previous sell setup was established, buy setup was established, I apologize. Something gets a little confusing, but this is the buy setup when it goes down. The sell setup is as it goes higher. So the buy setup, that's the recent buy setup, that's most recent resistance. We want to see it close on an hourly basis above that, confirm, and then you feel better that it's going to hold. Seal, there's something we talked about. We talked about this briefly yesterday. One of the more active stocks. AMRS 9. Now it looks like it could try to reverse here. I mean, these are setups that I'm not really sold on. There's much better setups with different patterns. This is just purely a timing setup. Let's see what else we have. Let's look at the rest of the market. The market is coming back down a little bit. So 913 and the NASDAQ is finished. And now we can wait for the next setup as it develops. Now we have the buy setup is developing. So let's see if we can reverse that. Same with the S&P. The VIX is starting to pop a little bit. And let's look at some other stocks. Nothing really happening. Let's go back to GLBS. All right, so the 5-minute looks like it's still consolidating. It's 950, 7-8. It's about to happen. And if this sell setup finishes above, I apologize. If this buy setup finishes above this sell setup, then it is a buy. But we should wait until it's finished, because sometimes the bar could get truly extended. Even though it's already an 8, you want to preempt it, but then the 9 could truly come back down and even penetrate some of these support levels. So we really don't know how it finishes. Sometimes it'll pop higher, but that's one of the rules that I like to follow. Is I'd rather be out of a stock wishing that I'm in instead of being in a stock wishing that I'm out. And I think that's a very good lesson for any trader to practice and be disciplined to do. Here we go. So 9. Let's finish where this ends. And then we could easily lower down this buy. We can wait for the 9 or we can wait for the 1. Again, there are rules that we can't really truly go through within this channel. In the morning, see the 9 finished. Actually, no, canceled, and now the 1 starting. So just to easily explain that, there are people that are probably starting to buy now. The buyers, the sellers, the buyers, or the sellers have exhausted. So any type of buying can pop the stock up. So the fact that it was an 8 and then now it's turning into a 1, we have to reanalyze the stock to see if that's going to hold. So that looks like it's going to hold. Well, we do have a basing out process here that's happening. So I would feel more comfortable owning it as it breaks out, or if it dips again close to where this sell setup occurred, then that will be a good low entry. That would be a low entry trade. So this is the 1 minute chart. Let's look at the 5 minute. It's basing out. That's a good sign. And the hourly obviously still looks good. All right, let's see what we have here. Let's get rid of this for now. Actually, let's keep it, but let's make it lighter. It's easier to see. Let's see how this base is out here. If this can break out of this base, that could also be a good sign. Again, the problem with anticipating it or trying to anticipate it before it breaks out is that there could be a double top here. It would have been nice to see it in the 1 minute chart that the 9 printed, so that you'd have more conviction. So now we have to wait for the next signal to develop. All right, so we're still getting that consolidation in this area of the market. There's really no news that I see so far. I'll take a quick look if there's anything here. All right, LBS. All right, it's coming back down. There's really no news so far. Not much. So, I mean, these are really just being traded by some of these momentum day traders, low float, take advantage of little pop, and they just pounce on some of these stocks again. So therefore, that's why I didn't want to, you can't really anticipate it here when it was an 8, you thought it would have been a 9, because now look at it, it's still selling. So you have to be patient. Patience is a virtue. Going into stock because you feel like it's going to go is not a good trading trade. Let's look at some of the other ones that we talked about. The DCAR. Yes, this dropped below 480, which we talked. Oh, not yet. No, I'm sorry. We're talking about here 380. That's 360. So that's still far. But now it looks like it can get back to 4.5, 4.25, and see if that consolidates there. I mean, there are a lot of different ways to analyze it from that an hour standpoint. I mean, there's this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ways that some people like to use. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm not really a wave guy, but I do try to follow it. Not to the exact T again, but just within the confines of the sequence counter on Thinkorswim. All right, so that's still bringing the 5-minute chart on below the 205-minute moving average. So let's see if that could hold it above it. I mean, this is a good support level. If it breaks that, then this is where the last 5-minute sell setup occurred, right around this area. So you would want to see it hold for the turnaround, because after that you'll be looking at 415 or lower. So that could be a very good place to find some support. I mean, it's been shown here right around that area is where the bulls and the bears are fighting pretty hard. So right around 446, again with the stop loss at a break below this would not bode well. GLBS, let's take a quick look back and see what we have here. So from what I was saying earlier, now there's 2 ways to buy it. Yes, there is no 9 yet, and that's fine. I mean, the reason why I wouldn't have bought it here, because a 9 here would, the 9 here would have been a buy. However, since it's not a 9, it's still too high to try to anticipate the turnaround here from this low, from the gap, from the low of today's gap. Now you can either wait for a 9 to finish here, or quite simply, you're pretty much close to the stop loss, and you can take a quick jab, take a quick shot at this right around here, or you can wait again for it to really print a 9. But again, sometimes they won't. It's still within that trend part of the setup. So anything around this area, I think, is a good buy. Again, you have to keep your money management skills. So that's intraday. Now we're looking at the 5-minute chart. Let's look at hourly. The nuts below that 200-hour moving average. So let's just see how it first sets up. Yes, there's no need to jump the gun here, as we've seen the stock previously. When it runs to above the 55-minute moving average, that it can try to find some base there. So the 10-5, this yellow line, which is the 10 5-minute moving average, could be a good place to find some support. Again, that's all coinciding right around the low of the gap, low of the day so far. So that's this is how I day trade, and very patiently waiting to see if some of our prices are hit. Could ultimately put a buy here and wait for a bid to hit you, and then again you'll have a very small 5-cent risk, which would be ideal. So this failed, and now we can try to see and find where the next basing area is. All right, here we go. 1 minute still there. Here it is. Let's see if we can find some support here right around the low of the day. See, now they're looking support here. Let's see if the support holds. Let's take a quick look at some other active stocks. Neo. Let's see what this thing has. We'll do top heavy. Banco Santander. So within the channel. But we'd probably better to wait out to finish the countdown. Seal. There's not much going on. RBZ. This one just came out of. Oh, we didn't look at it because it's a very low volume. If this holds here, this is an interesting play. Let's see where everything else looks. But some of these stocks, they just like to pop in. And daily looks okay. It's a 3, but getting resistance at 17.5 at the 200 moving average. $13 finished. It's too early to tell where this is heading. AMRS, let's take a quick look. 371. All right, let's take a quick look here. Now it's getting closer and closer. Again, if you want to take a quick jab at this, this is not a bad place. 370 with 5-cent stop loss. I mean, if you're wrong, you lose 5 cents. If you're right, you can probably get back to 4.25. So I would lower this here. You buy it here. That's not bad. Makes 5 cents to make 25 cents, 50 cents. All right, so the MACD, the stochastic looks like it's oversold. So the initial place where we could sell it, look at some of these. Right, if you're risking 5 cents, at least 2 to 1, 375, you buy it, 385, 390. I mean, the top of this would not be a bad place to sell. Half of it, quarter of it, taking a 5-cent risk. A 5-cent risk, 370, 365, 5-cent risk. You take 375, 385, take 10-cent reward, 2 to 1. Don't think they do options. This most likely doesn't have options. Just this. All right, let's remove that. This ultimates your stop loss. All right. You bought here. And let's see if it holds. I mean, it looks like there could be a basing process that can go on for a little while. And The next area to sell would be, let's see, somewhere around $4. We'll sell third, quarter, fourth, half. At that point, can't really complain if that happens. And then you can let it ride the rest of it. And you have a 4.25 resistance here, but I think at some point you can let a small portion of your stock run. So the stochastic looks like it wants to get overbought. The MACD is starting to go positive. So we'll see how the price indicators and some of the momentum indicators and the timing indicators, let's see where they all converge. Other positions you can look at. I mean, these these orders should already be in. As soon as you put a buy order, you have to have at the very least 3 orders: one to buy, one to sell, stop, and one to sell, take profit. All right, so now it's really getting tight, and this will break pretty shortly. Kron is having a very bad day. Market looked like it has turned negative. GLBS is still trying to hold this recent support. 5 minutes, if any change of count. It's still negative in the 5 minute, but we're intraday day trading it, so we're trading the 1 minute chart. But this is where you could sort of anticipate where the market's heading or the stock is heading. Even though it is still a buy setup that's forming and it's not complete, it did complete the retracement from the open. So it's again with a small risk and a higher reward ratio, it's a shot worth taking. I'm sure people have lost a lot more than that. All right, we'll see how it goes. If it fails, then we can try to see if there's either another stock or another setup later on. But losing is part of the game. The goal is to minimize them. Can't be afraid to lose if you're prepared. Again, you shouldn't really lose a lot because not one stock should retire you. All right, so the Bulls and the Bears are fighting. Let's see if the Bulls can attract more bulls for this stock today, this morning. We have roughly another 20 minutes. And if you guys want to learn more, let me know, and let's see where we can help. All right, so 5 minutes. Look, still trying to hold the support area. So we can keep it. See what else is out there. Levi's higher. This is now looking to sell in anticipation of the earnings. Again, these are very volatile times going to earnings season, the earnings announcements. Can't really do much about that. It is what it is. 1, 2 in the daily. The daily still looks good. So if you guys are looking at the daily here, I mean, this is for a quick pop. This is not bad. However, just keep looking at some of the waves, see where they are. All right, so 15 minutes, 1 minute, 9:13. All right, so I mean, if you guys want to play this for a quick pop right here, it gets out of this level. Get out somewhere around here to here initially. And let's see GLBS, see if there's anything that's happening here. There you go. So if you already have an order, 370, 369, whatever that was, 370 here, 372, around this area, and you had a first sell of whatever your position you're comfortable selling, you would have hit. And then, if, let's say you sold a quarter or half, which I normally do on my initial target. So if you would have made about, let's say 15 cents, 13 cents, and then the other half that you have, you could lose 5 cents. So net, you're plus 8 cents on half the position, or 4 cents total. But that's a failed, not a failed trade, but it's a trade that never totally panned out. But to be positive in it, because you have solid money management skills or plan, then it's a win. And that's the bottom line. It's not about being right, it's about being profitable. So from that standpoint, that's how I day trade. Let's look at some other endpoint. I mean, this came down yesterday. This is pretty much gone. The 3, I mean, there's some support here, but there's better looking charts out there. I mean, there's a base definitely forming here. This base. $9 to $7.80 something. Low 9s to high 7s. So you could either wait for the next signal to show here. Let's look at GLBS. Again, 10:30. It'd be nice to really see it above that, close above that 50-hour moving average to really solidify the rest of the day trade. If you want to swing trade it, but this is you can swing trade this and go up like that. But in minute chart, so if you're still holding on to your half here, so you bought stock at 3.7-ish, low 3.7s with a nickel stop loss, 5.8 cents. Your first price target was hit on a 2-to-1 risk reward ratio. Frankly, you have, let's see, it's high 388 minus 3.72. So you have 16 cents. There you go, just to be exact. So we had 16 cents on the first half or first third or first quarter of your position. I normally sell half of my position on my first price target. And so you made 16 cents, 15 cents in the first half. You're still risking nickel for the other half. Again, I mean, if that ever happened, you're still net 10 cents on the first half. So your overall position net 5%. Not bad for, I mean, if you want to take a look at 9:30, we started working within an hour. That's the worst case scenario. You can step out, you can do other things. if you want, or you can look for different opportunities. Still looking to set up here on a buy. Best case scenario would be for this to just continue to consolidate and finish with a 9 here, or if it just doesn't happen, start to form a one on a sell setup on the upside on the 5-minute chart. And the hourly, like I said, we're still waiting for this to develop the same way it developed back in March 8th. That time period, March 7th. All right, so let's take a look where we are. All right, so we're printing out here. And let's see if this, I mean, it looks pretty weak right now, but again, it's not about prediction as much as preparation. I definitely put a lot more value in a good preparation than good prediction. It has proven time and time again that for me, it's done well. Do you guys have any questions? Jack Daniel by IYR. Let's see what this one looks like. This looks very interesting with that pennant forming. The 1 minute. Yes, I was just talking about this earlier. Lennar and DHI, they both look good from a longer term perspective. So yeah, this looks, this looks good. Rising channel. From my perspective, we broke through this recent sell setup, and now that it extended beyond this bar, it looks like the buyers are in control. The MACD setup looks like it could turn higher here. And the stochastic is looking back to getting to the oversold level. It looks good. I mean, this is a good long term. The weekly looks like it's a breakout here from a almost multi-year base, the big range. But it's starting to count again. See how 1 through 9, you can have a 9-week rally. And so that's what it looks like here. You can have a 9-week rally where it goes. There's different ways to look for where this could extend to. You could look at some Fibonacci extensions. This recent high, let's see if it can take you, to 91 or higher, 103. I mean, this is an ETF, so it's not going to be as fast as some other stocks that we discuss. I don't really do options. I've done options to trade, but I don't really do the more complicated strategies. I basically buy and sell it like I would buy a stock. Yeah, so I'm more of a, I look at the stock and then I use the base and option in stock. Again, I'm not really I play options here and there. I've done well with them, but my real focus is on stocks, and I read them. So let's see what else. Let's look at the GLBS. Let's see how this one's working out. So it hasn't hit our support, but you see how you let it drip a little bit. I'm not gonna be, we could have been taken out. It's fine, not a big deal. But some of these stocks, they are pretty volatile, so you kind of give it a little bit of leeway. I mean, luck definitely plays a lot in making money. You have to be good and lucky, but the more prepared you are, the more lucky you get. So the fact that this never confirmed the 1 minute, I mean, you see you guys can see the veracity of the buyers when they see some of these levels come in. This is 120,000 shares in this 1 minute. So some of you guys that could have that type of buying power, great. Some of you guys that basically want to ride the coattails, it's good to know what they use, how they look at things, and hopefully it works out for you as well. But so far it's still within our plan. It never really hit our stop loss here. With majority of our, should be the majority of your, at least half your position out, or a third. But again, the reason why money management matters is that there's a difference between, if you sold a third of it and you get set out of the 2/3 of this, you'll have a smaller profit for the day, which is still fine. You still, when you use it, your proper plan, you'd still be fine. But it's still the same prediction, but a different result because a different plan was used, different risk reward ratio was used, different exit points were used. So even though it's the same prediction, the preparation really determines the outcome in your portfolio. The outcome of the stock price is not really up to us. What we can control is what we have, the money we put in and the trades that we put in. So if you were the type of trader that would sell a third or a quarter at this point, and then this goes negative. I mean, if you sold a quarter here, you're up, 15 cents, and then you risk 3 cents on the last 3 quarters. So if you did get stopped out, you would be even. My strategy would have netted you 5% net. You could be a little bit more conservative or aggressive on your plans, but having a plan is the most important part. Again, whether you're up 5% on it total or flat total, as long as your process is solid, I think over the long run, repeating it over and over will net you positive results in your portfolio. So there's definitely many ways to skin a cat. And at the end of the day, it's whatever it is you can live with. But more importantly, if you are profitable, then you should stick to your process. If you're not profitable, then tinkering with the process is the next logical thing to do. All right, it's 10:24, and we have 5 more minutes before we conclude this live video. And let's take a quick look. The market again turned positive. So we have definitely a lot of back and forth here. Okay, let's see where we are. Really. Okay, so I mean the daily is still within that small band. And after it filled the gap a little bit here, the market looked like it tried to recover. All right, so the bulls are definitely trying to get it out of this mini consolidation that we have. All right, let's take a quick look at some other stocks. 5. I'll get our live video going for a little bit more. I'd like to see how this turns out. But see if we can back to a positive trend here. See, it's having a hard time to finish the trend part of it. It's 11 to 13. Again, there are rules to why these numbers are printed. This has to have 2 consecutive bars that are higher than the bars. For the 13th to develop, you have to have the current bar higher than the previous 2 bars. So that's how the 13 is derived. But really, the 1 through 9 is what I trade, because that is the momentum part of it, and that's where the price range usually is set. All right, so Broke below the 10 5-minute moving average once, didn't confirm, move above it, broke below it, didn't confirm, move above it. So we're definitely getting a lot of back and fill here. But the 13 and the 1 minute is looking to end soon. That is coming sooner than the 5-minute, which is fine. So when that trend is finished, we can wait for the next momentum to happen. And we can kind of happen concurrently as well towards the end of it. I'm going to take a quick 2-minute break. I'll be right back real shortly. All right, we are back. And let's take a look at where we are. So the 13 is finished on the 1-minute chart. And now we're going to look for the next 9, see where that comes in. So far, it looks like it wants to be on the upside. So we'll take a look. So some of these stocks we can try to adjust since you already made half, or so you already sold some here. You can either wait for a couple places to go. We can find a place to sell. And there's obviously a sell at 530. And that's clear. There's going to be some sort of resistance close to that, 5.25. Right. So I mean, ultimately, if you want to have a sell at 5.25, that could be part of your swing trade. Boom. There. So if you sold half here or a quarter, there's two places where you can try to adjust this. This one can also be adjusted if you want to move it. Since you already made money on at least half, you can move somewhere around 4.25, 420. You know, just a little bit below the recent high for a double top scenario that could happen and fail. So you can get rid of either, if you got rid of a half here, you can get rid of a half here, or and let the rest ride. Or if you're comfortable with that, you're taking a small risk anyway, you can just let it ride for the next day if you want to do that. I mean, there's, again, once your initial plan is in motion, the market is dynamic. It's okay to have a dynamic plan that you follow. Again, there are some hard rules that you want to have, but as far as the flexibility, you've got to be flexible like the market. The market is not like math; it's not perfect. So I think that's important to know and consider. So on the 1 minute, the 1 through 5, again, we're going against this 50, the blue line, which is the 50 bar moving average. That's probably the best way to describe 50 bar moving average. So let's see if there's going to be another resistance. We already saw it here that the first time it hit it after people got shook out, there was some resistance. So let's see if we can break it the second time and ultimately get to here. And then for a swing trade, I mean, if you have a quarter left in the position, I mean, if you like to buy options too, I'm not talking about this particular stock, but you can roll over some of your profits and buy a call for a couple of days, see if this hits 530 if you don't want to risk too much of your profits or capital. Again, there's many different strategies that you can use. Again, I don't think this has a options in it, but let's see. Options. Yeah, this is not gonna have options. Yeah. All right, so we're still getting that resistance here at the 50 bar moving average, so that's not a surprise. CRMD, that just yesterday had a reverse split. We'll probably get an initial pop for the next few days because this, I mean, when companies tend to do when companies do a reverse split, they tend to reiterate how crappy the company is. They need to reverse split to save their stock. So eventually this, after quick run up where some people get suckered in, the long-term buyers will probably come in and dump it. So just watch out for those type of moves. MRS, what is this thing doing? Interesting, 5 minute. Yeah, that's the initial resistance, 196 to 215. Obviously overshot it, but never held. So broke through here, which was good. So we broke through that. That should have been a buy. It's the first place to sell. Again, if you're looking to live, if you don't want to trade the first 5 minutes, you can always get into here. I mean, this is your buy after the first 15 minute. So I'm going to place a sell stop here. Activate and a buy here. After it went through this 1 through 9, this recent base. Getting out of this base was good on an intraday basis. we're not looking at a swing trade. It's if somebody decided to day trade it, this is been a good place to day trade it. From here to here is your first profit target, and then the next second profit target is right around this price level, which is exactly where it stopped. Well, close to where it stopped. That's just from a price resistance, not a time resistance. The hourly. So, I mean, as far as the hourly, if you close above here in the next couple of hours, this would be good. And you could see this, the rest of the stock play at the 280. This next rally here, that's the next resistance. So, but this is a buy here. All right, and this is a buy. To the right, to the right, right, and then this would have been stop loss. Boom. All right, let's take a look at what we're looking at here earlier, GLBS. Let's see how this is developing. We've gone over 10 minutes over a lot of time, but take a quick look, see how it's developing. Yeah, it's still underneath that 50 bar moving average, so we will monitor that for the rest of the morning. So we know that there's support here. We know this is where the battle is at, bulls and the bears. And from a price pattern perspective, now you can take a look at, is this obviously this is the double bottom, one bottom here, put an arrow here, one bottom, double bottom, 1, 2, could it triple bottom? It's possible. If it doesn't triple bottom, it can have a head and shoulder formation here, reverse head and shoulder, and then 1 minute chart. This would be the shoulder, this would be the head, this would be the right shoulder. So many ways to interpret it from a price pattern perspective. And now that it looks like it's oversold again, the stochastics and the 1 minute chart. So this is a place where it could hold support and turn around. On the 5 minute chart, it is oversold, so could bounce from here. And on the 1 hour chart, did come back down. It's right above the crossover, and that so far looks like it's a positive for the stock. So it's important to see it break through. All right. Let's see what else is out here. NAR holding. Looks good. Earnings came out. Good news. So this is definitely a candidate long term. And the markets are negative. So a lot of back and fill for the day so far for this morning. Nothing else happening here. This thing's doing. Doesn't look so good right now. I'll see if this low would hold. Let's make this a solid line. And see if we can hold that pattern. Let's do MK, little tracement. Look at the hourly. So after the 9, there's consolidation. But it looks like we get a follow through. I mean, the hourly starting anew again. It'll work. So on the sell side, there's not much going on there. See how this develops. When the market's ready, it will let us know. 52, still holding. Excuse me. I'm a little bit under the weather, so I apologize if I don't sound as well as I should be. Right? All right, so this is a high volume mover for the day so far. 5 million shares so far, almost, and it's a little bit over an hour in the market. So this is definitely being looked at and traded by some of these day traders, momentum traders. What else is up here? Fortunately, we only have an hour that we can discuss these things. So if you want to have more of analysis, let me know and shoot me an email or our YouTube channel. You can let us know through that as well. Right, let's look at some other stocks out here. RBZ, Bonds Holding Limited. Yeah, so I mean, this has to be waited. You have to kind of wait for this one to see where the stock really ultimately consolidates. The 8 and the 9, it's almost towards the end of the hourly exhaustion point. So, and from an intraday perspective, you want to trade it from here as a buy. And a stop loss here. I mean, this definitely, I mean, you have to go above this level. You can't really, right now, we're just creating the plan. And you don't want to let it, this is already broke below. So you don't want to get too far out. That's already been established. So a couple cents below that low would be enough. It really shouldn't hit that anymore. If it does, give it a little bit of leeway, a couple cents. Because after that, we're looking at from 12:30 to 11. I mean, that's a big, from 12, let's just say 12 to 11. I mean, that's a $1 move. You don't want to be caught in between that. Make that a solid because that would be your hard sell. I think I try to find some resistance levels around here. I mean, this is a good place to go. 14 and a quarter, $14. And then ultimately, you could probably try to find a place to sell it right around 16 and a quarter initially. First half, third quarter, however you guys plan your day trade. I normally go with half my position, my first price target, if it ever goes, if it ever confirms. So I mean, it looks like it already penetrated in the yeah, see, that's it. That's why you can't really get involved unless it gets prices above that. Now the seller's in control again, and we'll probably push it lower. So if you want to short it, you can short it from here. I guess I'm not really. I prefer to long stocks than short stocks, but I do short stocks. Unless we're in a bear market where majority of my trades will be in the short side. But as long as we have an uptrend in the market, I tend to long stocks a lot more. There's a higher upside. And all right, GLBS. Is there anything? Look up here. So nothing really is happening here. Same here as the other RBZ. It's losing momentum, but again, having already sold half, a quarter, or a third, you should feel more at ease that even if this turns negative, you've already took some profits. And the stock really didn't do anything, and you made money. So that's a good thing. All right, so let's see if there's any conviction of buyers here. Yep. So if this fails and you guys want to re-enter right around 350, from 350 to 375, that's a quarter, but you have to have another small a small rest. So here, what's this low? Low is 373 here. The low here is low is 366. Low here is 366. So it looks like 366. There's a lot of buyers. Okay, so fails that. That's a double bottom right there. Another bottom. So 1, 2, technically 1, 2. I mean, technically this should have broken above, but this could be the double bottom technically. But this is kind of triple bottomed. You can also look at it, headed here, but it doesn't look like it's likely. Yeah. 366. That's 365. You're out. But there's a little bit of support. Let's see where they are. Let's see where the buyers are. Using our strategy helped me stop focusing on level 2s and these other indicators that could tend to just create noise. If you're confident, or at least from my perspective, I'm confident that these are being used by the big boys, the big firms. So if I'm reading it right, I know they're sitting there and defending the stock. And I know if they get taken out, then there we go. So there's not enough buyers out there. So, all right. So that should conclude this portion of our morning session. Just got to give you an example of how you could day trade. Things don't go exactly to your plan, but if you had a good preparation, good plan, you would have net 5% on a position on something that failed. So to make 5% and be wrong, to me, that is okay. And then if you want to trade this later on and figure out where the next entry and exit points are, it's fine. But I think today is just a good example of a plan never, a prediction never really getting fulfilled for the day, but with the correct and solid plan and execution, it would have been a positive day. So that's all. Thank you very much for watching. And if you're watching the replay, thank you for for staying with us. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to contact me. Like us on our channel, like this video, and share it. And speak to you tomorrow. All right. And that is it.